Okay, good morning. Good morning, everyone. Fireside chat here today, Friday. Hope everyone is doing fantastic. Excited about our fireside chat as always. We are going to be discussing actually several different things here today. We're going to be talking about, kind of the primary topic, which is confidence, the importance of confidence. And, as I wrote this down, and I talk about this all the time, really, right? I mean, confidence is influence. And, it's when that confidence replaces fear. When you are not confident in something, you don't have influence, right? I mean, people can sense it, they can feel it. So we're gonna dive into this and discuss it a little bit further. And it's funny because so many things when it comes to life, when it comes to our business, are all interconnected, are all interrelated. And, many of you know that I'm working, this year, one of my major, goals is my overall health and well-being. And so as a result of that, one of the things that I'm doing is hiking. I'm hiking, every single day. And, initially I was just hiking and I was just like, into, the mountains and nature and just, the peacefulness of it, right? The peacefulness of it. And then about 6 weeks, maybe 2 months ago, I incorporated listening, to the personal development. You guys heard me talk about, some of the things that I learned in, Dean Graciosi's, the, Millionaire Success Habits. And, I was listening to, Jim Rohn again and Earl Nightingale and different things like that. Well, yesterday, on my hike, thinking, hey, I need some new material. I need to, look at something new. And so I got John C. Maxwell's The 21 Irrefutable Laws of Success, right? And so right now I'm on chapter 3. And, number one is, he talked about essentially, one of the major laws of leadership. And ultimately, when you break it down, it's probably the biggest indicator of leadership is influence, right? The ability to influence other people to do something. And that's why I'm bringing this up, because it fits perfectly into confidence, because that's what confidence does. Confidence gives you it's like when you have influence over other people. I talk about this all the time that two people debating something. Let's say they're debating something, and it's whoever has the greatest level of confidence or belief in whatever it is going to have influence over the other person. Now, if they both have that absolute rock solid belief or confidence in whatever it is, whatever the topic may be that they're discussing, neither one's going to convince either one, right? But it's the one who has and this ties into our business too, guys, because when you're out there prospecting, when you're out there talking, we run into negative people. We run into naysayers. We run into people trying to steal your dream, right? And if your confidence, if your belief, because belief and confidence play hand in hand, right? If your confidence and your belief is in place, they're not going to have any effect on you, right? And matter of fact, if your confidence is strong enough and stronger than their belief or confidence in that it isn't going to work, you're going to have influence over them. I mean, every time you talk to somebody, you're either buying or you're selling, right? You're either selling someone's story or selling your story about why something is, or what it is, or why, how good it can be. You're either selling your story, or if your confidence isn't in place, if your belief isn't in place, you're buying their story, right? And it's whoever has the greatest level of, and I played with this a little bit. I remember I was in a car in Minneapolis and I was with a group of people, and we were looking for, and we were actually discussing this earlier in the day. And this has got to be, almost 10 years ago, maybe even longer than that. Actually, it was back when I was with Rexall. So this is like 15 years ago. And this story just popped into my head. And we're we're driving through Minneapolis, and we were going to a destination. And I'm not from Minneapolis. I'm from a town outside of Minneapolis, 3.5 hours. I wasn't familiar with the area, but we're looking to go to this location. And the local was saying how to get there. And I took and, stepped up and said, no, that's not the right way. This is the way. And I didn't even know what I was talking about. But my confidence got them to change direction. Okay? And so confidence is incredibly powerful when you know something, right? And if the other person isn't 100% sure, you're going to alter what they think. So this confidence is incredibly powerful. Now, whether what is true or not, that's in your own mind, but it may not be true, but you still have influence over someone else, because there can be, I was listening another set of tapes that I've been listening to, and I've touched on a little bit, by a guy by the name of it's Mastering the Attitude of Achievement. Lou Tice, he's an old football coach, and he talks about people react not according to the truth as it really is, but according to the truth as they believe it or perceive it to be. That there can be conflicting beliefs or conflicting truths, right? But information can change someone's belief or truth. But if you want to have influence over other people, you have to have that rock solid belief. Because when somebody challenges you on something that that you're excited about, that you believe in, and if you take and show hesitancy, oh really, I didn't know that, or what, maybe it's about a product, or maybe it's about network marketing, or and you show weakness, or you show a hesitancy, you've lost the conversation, you've lost your influence, right? Because it immediately is showing to them. But if you maintain the confidence in your belief in what you're going to have influence over that other person, right? So this is a very, very important topic, okay? If you really get it and understand it, right? So again, coming back to listening to, John C. Maxwell and his 21 irrefutable laws of success. So number one of the things he talked about, he said, when he was putting this together, the laws are the laws, and laws are timeless. Laws are, foolproof. He says, if it's a law, it's something you can, put in the bank. So he did a tremendous, 18 months of research before he started to write the book, on these of what really matters, what can count on, what works today, what worked 20 years ago, what will work 20 years from now. It's a law, right? So the first law that he came up with, and again, over the upcoming Fridays, I'm gonna be touching on this because I think it's so powerful. I think if you want to grow your income, if you want to build an organization, you have to be able to influence others. You have to be able to lead others, right? And so he said the number one thing in leadership is influence. It's influence, the ability. And he says, sometimes you can be given influence, right? You can be given influence, by a title. Let's say you have a job and you're a CEO or whatever, but you may not maintain that influence if you don't do it. You can give it initially, and he says when, in a job scenario, or when you're in a superior position and you have the ability to, cut people off, so to speak, right? In a job scenario, you can dangle bonuses and pay and carrots, so to speak. And that is influence as well, but it's not true influence. It's influence in the sense you're able to get people to do something based off the fear of loss. But true influences is when he talks about being a volunteer army. When your influence is not tied to you having the ability to cut off their financial aspect of it. Because if your influence is based off of, if they don't do what you say, you can cut them off. It is influence, but it's also intimidation, and it's manipulation, and all those types of things. But true influence is, like he says, a volunteer army. And that's where I believe true influence can come in this network marketing, because that's what we're doing, right? We're leading a volunteer army. They don't have to do what we suggest, right? They're doing what we suggest because they believe in you. They believe in your vision. So part of influence is having that vision, right? And again, I'm talking a lot about influence, but influence is directly tied to our topic today, which is confidence, right? So, and then we just got into chapter 3, and I'll talk about that maybe next week, but he talked about part of leadership is being able to chart the course, right? It's being able to chart the course as far as the steps it's going to take to get there, and kind of beginning with the end in mind. We'll get into that more later, but the first chapter was all about influence is the true indicator of leadership. And again, leadership can be given in through a position or through a title, but to maintain it, if you're using that as a manipulation, as a do this or else, that's not real influence. It is influence, but it's not pure influence. Pure influence, I believe, can be built and is in network marketing. Like I said, because we're dealing with a volunteer army. So one of the other things, and I just wrote these notes down because it was at the end of chapter 2, and I'm going to go over this real quick. He said, what when you think about your influence, when you think about what you rely on most for in the ability to influence others, the ability to move others, he said there's 7 things. And he said, so number 1 is your character. So I'm asking the question, and he said to rate this on a scale of 1 to 10. And I love the 1 to 10 thing, right? So on a scale of 1 to 10, rating, what do you use, what do you rely on for your influence to move other people? And again, influence tied directly, I could be using the word confidence just as easy as the word influence. But so he said, number 1 thing is your character. Who are you? How do people perceive you? What do you stand for, right? Who are you? So, I believe I rely very heavily on my character and in the ability to always do what I commit to do, what I say I'm going to do, to follow through. If I say I'm going to show up at somewhere, I'm going to be there, even if it's inconvenient or something else comes up, I'm still going to do that. So my character, right, is something that I rely very heavily on as far as who am I? Who am I? Your character, your relationships. Okay. Number 2, he said relationships. How do you rely on your relationships? Your relationships, are they good? Are they bad? Are they powerful? Meaning when you look at growing, and that's what life does. That's what, having good character does. That's what's following through strengthens relationships and doing what you say you were going to do. And, being true to who you are kind of ties into character, but it really ties into, how powerful all those relationships. And as you grow in business, as you grow in life, are those relationships with people that can help you, that have weaknesses or strengths in your weaknesses, are those. So how much do you rely on relationships? For your influence and for where you are, who you are, where you're trying to go. So relationships matter. Relationships really matter. I never burn bridges. I never burn bridges. So, and then the third thing he says is knowledge. What do you know? What do you know? And, I think back to Earl Nightingale and one of his sayings I think it was in Lead the Field. And, he talked about at a commencement speech that he gave, and he overheard somebody say, thank God I am done with school. I am done learning. And he said it was the saddest thing. I mean, you have to be committed to knowing more, to learning more. I mean, and that's one of the things. I mean, I go through periods where, I feel maybe burnt out, or I feel stuck, or I'm not motivated. But then when I get back into it, just like over these hikes that I've been doing, I've been getting back into, as much as I preach personal development, there's times where I am resistant to it. I don't want to hear it, right? And I'm back into it, and how it has influenced me, how it has inspired me, how it is, I'm pushing myself, as Zig Ziglar says, life is like a grindstone. It's either going to grind you down or it's going to polish you up. You have to keep your saw sharp, right? So this personal development. So in this number 3, what do you rely on is your knowledge. I'm in a quest to know more, and when you know more, you can be more. So, what are you doing in the area of knowledge to improve your knowledge, your understanding, and different things like that? And again, rating yourself on a scale of 1 to 10. And then number 4 is intuition. Okay, what do you feel? Based off of the way you make decisions, what does your intuition play? How big a part does intuition? For me, it plays a big part, right? That gut feeling, what you feel about something is so how much do you rely on your intuition, that gut level? And again, what can help intuition is your knowledge, because it can help you get a broader perspective, a better understanding of something but at the end of the day, intuition is what you feel. So as you think about your influence, as you think about your confidence you have in something, how much does influence play a part in that? Okay. Your experiences. Okay. That's number 5. He says experience, not experiences, experience. Where have you been? Meaning, our knowledge, what we believe in, what our understanding of life and is basically, based off of our experiences, the things that we've experienced. They form our opinions and our beliefs and how we perceive the world and perceive other things. And so your experience, how much do you believe your past experiences have contributed to your beliefs and to your confidence and to where you are? So experience. And then past successes. Okay, because this is when you first start out in business, you don't have any past successes. It's all about what you're going to do. But after you've done something, you now have some evidence, a track record. Okay, so your past successes can contribute. And I look at my situation. I'm 33 years in this industry of network marketing. I've been, with my president Valentis. I've been, this is my, really 4th company. But every company I've been with has been more successful than the last company, and every company has been an unbelievable success. And so my past successes, I think, attribute to my influence and my belief and confidence in the industry, because I haven't ever joined something and not made it work, right? So my past successes, I believe, can contribute to my influence. And then your ability. What is your ability? Basically your skill level and all these things. So as you think about this, rating these 7 areas on a scale of 1 to 10, rating these 7 areas on a scale of 1 to 10, your character, who are you? Your relationships, who do you know? Your knowledge, what do you know? And are you looking, again, to improve in all these areas? If you can move the needle just a little bit, it makes a big difference, right? Your intuition, your experiences, your past successes, and your ability. So anyway, it just turns me on. I get excited about it, listening to this and hearing something a little bit of a different way, or it's just powerful stuff. So let's come back to, the word confidence, right? In this business of networking, I talk about this all the time, that people buy people, right? It's your passion, your posture, your belief, your confidence in what you're doing that will attract or influence others. Whoever has the greatest level of belief or confidence is going to have influence over the other person. Okay, and you can test this. When if you're in a situation, it doesn't, whether it's prospecting somebody, whether it's our business, or whether it's something, just anything in life, and there's a conflicting belief, whoever has the greatest level of confidence is going to have influence over the other person. So confidence, I mean, you think about it, nobody wants to follow someone who's wishy-washy. Nobody wants to follow someone that's not certain, that isn't sure. And when you're prospecting somebody and somebody says, oh, that network marketing never works, or, you're crazy, or, this is going to happen, or that's going to happen. And if you begin to yeah, you're right. I didn't think of that. You're showing a lack of confidence, a lack of belief, and you're sunk, right? But when you have the confidence, that rock solid confidence in what it is you're doing, I promise you, it makes a major difference. But if you begin to buy someone else's story, I always say it's not important everybody buys your story. The important thing is you don't buy their story. And if you show some weakness, if you show, and even if you're feeling it, right? Even, somebody says something to you that, may make you think a little bit. And yet, hey, you can go after the fact, you can go check it out to maybe reinforce your belief or your confidence. But if you show it at the particular spot and think, oh, I don't know, maybe I'll have to check that out, you're sunk, right? But if you maintain that confidence and belief of what you're doing and what you know, it's going to make that other person question what they're trying to tell you, as they're trying to convince you it doesn't work, or they're trying to convince you nobody makes any money at this, or they're trying to convince you that you'll never make it, that you're a dreamer. If you show rock solid belief and confidence, I promise you it's going to make them think about what they're saying. So confidence is the belief in something, the belief in doing something, the belief in knowing something, the belief in seeing something, the belief in having something. But it makes it's that rock solid belief that is going to ultimately have influence over other people. So listen, we're at 22 minutes here. I'm hoping that I triggered something in someone here that would like to jump in and share their experience, an example, their thoughts on what it is we're talking about here. So go ahead, I'm going to open it up, and if anybody wants to jump in and share, that'd be great. Come on. Okay,
I'm going to share with you, John.
I appreciate it.
Hey, you talk about belief. That's something that I definitely have. I believe in our products. I believe in this company. I wear it. I live it. This is what I do, and it's pretty cool because now I'm kind of back at my job sites. The things that I used to do before the coffee came into my life, and the people look at me completely different now. It's a whole different ball game than what it was 3 years ago when I was first getting started with this. They look at me and now they pay attention a little bit more. It's like there's a whole different feeling that you get when you have that confidence that you're talking about. They respect that. It's almost like people respect your opinion even better because you're not just talking off a piece of paper to them. You're living it, you feel it. Confidence, it will help you move forward so much better. But, my big thing here is just, here at the job sites, the people that used to look at me and the silly, dumb hillbilly carpenter that was out there selling that weight loss coffee, then it retired me. And all of a sudden they're like, what happened to Kenny? What happened to Kenny? And then all of a sudden I come back around a little bit and they're like, oh my God, there's Kenny, and it's like, now they're paying attention. Now they're like, what the heck is he doing that makes him not have to be out there at these job sites like this, And so I love what you're saying there, John. It kind of hit home with me today because I've had those experiences 3 times today already, and pretty amazing.
Wow, that's fantastic. Kenny, you said the way people look at you, okay? The way people are perceiving you. When you have that confidence, again, when you first enter into this, and I've talked about this before, where you kind of enter this business off of faith, right? Faith in the company, faith in the products, faith in your upline, faith in the that everything you're hearing is real and true, right? And then your faith can turn to belief, right? As you know, through experiences, through seeing it and witnessing it, and you know, over time, you know, what you hear and what you learn, that faith can turn to belief. And when you have that belief, that's when you're going to have influence, right? And then you can get to that next level, which is passion, right? Now this is where you ain't buying anyone else's story. I mean, you are passionate, and I don't care what you say. I know, and I know, and I don't care what anybody else is saying. This is what I know, and that when you can get there, I mean, that's major influence. So that's fantastic. You know, it made me think of a story also as I'm listening yesterday on my hike to John C. Maxwell. And he you know, to get points across, and this is also, you know, another sidebar, you know, people love stories. People learn through stories. And so a lot of what this, you know, when I'm listening to in John Maxwell's The 21 Irrefutable Laws of Leadership, is he's telling stories of examples. And he told this story about Mother Teresa. And Mother Teresa in her day was what he says to be probably one of the most influential people of her time. Okay. And even if you didn't agree with her, you would have to listen, because she had such strong influence. She had, you know, and so he told a story about a speech that she gave. And by the time she was done with the speech, he said she literally offended everybody in everybody, because she was so confident and she had such powerful influence. People may have, I mean, they respect her opinion. They you know, because if you didn't have the influence or the credibility, you know, he says they would have been booing her and, you know, and everything else, but they didn't. They respected her so much they listened, even if they disagreed. And he made the point where she talked about abortion and, you know, how abortion was wrong. And in the audience was Hillary and Bill Clinton were at the time, and everybody, there's a whole group of people that were just applauding and blah blah blah, and then yet they were just sitting there stone cold, you know, and you know, because their belief was different, right? But yet they're not. They didn't lash out or anything because they respected and appreciated. But he went on to say, by the time her speech was done, she literally offended everyone, you know, in the audience, because her beliefs in what she was, the character, what she stood for was so strong. She was not afraid to share with anyone, right? And if you had a conflicting belief, but her influence was so powerful, you know, that people weren't going to publicly argue or boo her, even if they disagreed. So anyway, that just kind of popped in. I got to re-listen to it to get more out of what the meaning behind that, but I think I, you know, captured it somewhat in that statement. But anyway, anybody else want to jump in here and share a little bit of their thoughts or ideas, experiences of an example of how they've used confidence to influence others, to move them to action, to get someone who was a naysayer to believe, or something of that nature?
I have a question. I might have missed it. So you talked about how someone doesn't know what to say or doesn't know what to do. So, like, if somebody doesn't know the answer for something, but they can still be real confident because they have the faith for the confidence. How should they go about? What should their answer be then to continue to instill that confidence? Yeah,
well, I mean, listen, you know, if there's something asked, maybe it's a product question or something where you don't have the answer. Okay, yeah, you don't want to take and make something up or just trying to make it sound like you know. What you want to do there is you want to just say, listen, I don't have the answer. I know what I believe, and that absolutely what the answer is going to be positive, or maybe it's I know this this or that doesn't work in the product, or why does that work, and say I don't have the answer to that, and I'll get it for you, but I can tell you the result is there. So you're putting your belief. You're not answering the question as it's asked, you're saying, I will get you the answer, but you're saying it with rock confidence that the answer is going to be, the positive outcome that's going to support your belief. Does that make sense? Right. So,
you're kind of I don't know how that coffee helps you lose weight. All I know is,
exactly.
Kenny lost 40 pounds. I don't know if you lost 40 pounds, Kenny, but just saying.
No, that's a perfect example. I don't know about that. I don't know exactly how that works, but I just know it works. Right. Exactly. So you're having that, I'll go ahead and I'll get that answer. Right. And it's going to support what my belief is, because I witnessed it. I've seen this. So your answer, you're not making something up you don't know. You definitely don't want to do that, right? Because that's going to put you in a position of completely losing confidence, and if you're trying to manipulate or spin or trying to definitely, that was a great question. Thank you.
Like you said, be the messenger, not the movie.
Yeah, there's always, exactly. Our job is not to be an expert in everything. Our job is to, it's just like we come back to that analogy when I talk about, people buying people, and you've learned everything you need to know in kindergarten. It's show and tell, and it's just no different than telling somebody about a movie or a restaurant. You're not explaining the entire movie to them. You're just telling them that it's so good, you got to see it. This restaurant is so unbelievable, you got to try it. And it's the confidence that you come across with that may put their hesitancy, put their skepticism, put their maybe initial belief that they don't think something like that works or that can't be so. It makes them question that, to where they're then going to check that out because you came across. So you definitely don't want to be making stuff up. You don't want to be pulling stuff out of thin air. It's more of the feeling in the confidence that you're coming across. It's not, it's that old saying, it's not what you say, it's how you feel about what you say. That's what people pick up on more than anything. Anyone else want to jump in here?
Hey, John, can you hear me?
I can.
Yeah, really along those same lines that you were talking about. The person couldn't answer the question about the product or the comp plan. That speaks right to the issue of the success of our program. What do I mean when I say that? What I mean is, hold on, I don't know the answer, but let me put somebody on the phone that can answer that question for you. The power of third-party influence. So there's someone that you should have in your Rolodex that you can call to talk about the product or specific products, and there's someone in your Rolodex that you should be able to refer to who understands the comp plan or any other aspect of our business, international, that you could three-way call into on any given occasion to get that question answered. That actually answers the question and trains the new person simultaneously.
Yeah, and that's another big thing that, again, I talk about all the time. Everything you do, sets an example what others, think they have to do. So if you even if you know the answer, let's say it's a complicated answer and you know it and you go into it, then they're going to think that they're going to have to know it and go into it. So, that's another subtlety, but it's a very important element of duplication in our business, knowing and remembering that everything we do sets an example what others think they have to do. Just in my example, somebody will ask me about, the comp plan, or what's the best way to get started, or how does the legacy bonus work, or how does this work, or how does that work, rather than me trying to explain it to them, which then in turn they think they have to know that to explain it to others. I send them the video. I send them the video that will answer that question, because that's duplicatable. Tells a perfect story every single time. They can see how they can do that as well. So the thing of it is, guys, having success in life and having success in really anything it's just a lot of little adjustments, right? You could be doing something so close to right, but that little bit is keeping you from breaking through, right? Because maybe you're trying to be the expert yourself versus drawing upon the tools. Right? You're talking to people and you let what someone else affect your belief or affect your confidence, and you show that they've taken you off guard, that they've made you hesitate, they've made you question, right? And that prospect's done that, right? So all of these little things make a major difference in the result you experience. And again, part of this is learning, right? You have to be committed to get better. You have to be committed to master the craft. And, I talk about the personal checkup all the time, taking these handful of things and evaluating where you are and where you could do better or what you might be doing wrong and how you can improve it and make it. I mean, another set of tapes that I was listening to was this, the Napoleon Hill's Think and Grow Rich Revisited. And chapter 5 in there is all about a pleasing personality and talks about all the characteristics of a pleasing personality and the character flaws that people have that drive people away from them, right? And you can listen to this and you can make, hey, I do that well, I don't do that so well, oh my God, I'm doing that. And it very clearly outlines, the personality flaws that push people away from you. And even in this chapter, it says if people don't like you, there's surely a reason, right? And you can figure it out and change it, right? So, great. And again, it's all you're wanting to learn. It's all you wanting to dive into this stuff. If you want to really be better, you gotta study. Yes, there are things we naturally know that seem to be ingrained in us, but they were still formed through some type of experience or whatever. But getting different perspectives, listening to incredibly successful people, okay, and learning from their experiences and their wisdom can improve your overall success. So if you're not doing that, you need to do that. So anyway, before we close out here, we'll take maybe one more person. If somebody wants to jump in here and share with us, that would be great.
Hi, John. As a person who had a lot of anxiety and self-doubt, I believe telling my own story has built up my own confidence, because you can't argue with somebody that is telling their own story.
Yeah, and what you're doing is you're also, what builds credibility and influence is being real and being vulnerable. And that's what I can feel that just in your over the screen here. I can feel the sincerity and the vulnerability in just those few words that you shared. So, and people identify with that, right? People really identify with realness. When you're really being real and honest and sincere and vulnerable versus putting on some facade, right? That of who you're not are, somebody that you're not really, you're trying to fake somebody out. So thank you for that.
You're welcome.
Okay, guys. Again, I just want to remind you that, of course, Mondays and now Tuesday evenings, we're doing, an opportunity overview. And then every Friday, next Friday, we're going to come back. I'm not exactly sure on the topic, but it's going to probably be something that I've pulled out of what I've learned this this upcoming week that I'll share on Friday that I've learned that hits me, that I want to share with you. And part of it is, even this Friday, if you think you're getting value out of this, other people will get value out of it. Okay. So what is test your own influence on getting others to participate, to join in, to contribute and to, get on this in value. And of course we're streaming on YouTube. And so my YouTube channel is always there. They're always, we record, sometimes we'll miss them, but for the most part, they're all there. There's playlists on the YouTube channel. There's a wealth of information there. Probably, literally, I don't know how many videos, but hundreds of them. And of course, we're also streaming on Facebook right now too. So we got a nice little group on Facebook, and I'll post this on Facebook as well. But I'm excited. I'm excited about life. I'm excited about where we're going. I'm excited about learning and sharing, the lessons and the things that I learned with you guys, and maybe that to think that maybe something I say or or something we discuss here can possibly help somebody or influence somebody, or somebody has an aha moment, that's exciting stuff. So with that, everybody have a fantastic Friday. Appreciate y'all, and we'll talk to y'all again soon.